Welcome back to today's video. Today we're going to be looking into the x and y coordinates of a circle. So in the last two lessons or so, we've been looking into the x and y coordinates of a parabola, as well as the exponential graph and so on. Now, good thing about the x and y coordinates of the circle, it's super easy. It's probably the most easiest one that you would come across out of the three. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you have fun. Hopefully you find it also easy to understand. So let's get started. The equation of the circle would center the origin. So when I talk about origin, it basically looks at the coordinate 0, 0. And radius r units is, this is the equation that you need to remember, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Have it highlighted into your books, whatever, underline it, box it, up to you. So this is an important equation because this equation determines if it is a circle or not. Okay, now a couple things is these. So the x squared and the y squared are just my x and y values from a coordinate. My r, as you would have known, it's basically where r is the radius. Okay. However, there's one thing that the radius needs to have, so one condition. The radius needs to be greater than 0. Okay. I'll explain the reasoning later on. Okay, so that's my equation. Super easy. Let's go into our example. It says find the radius of the circle with the equation x squared plus y squared equals 9 and sketch the graph. All right, first up, let's look at our equation. Yeah, our little formula, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So to find the radius, it means that I want to just find r, and r by itself. So if looking at my equation in my question here, yeah, and compare it to my equation, let's make it much easier for us and just write it down here. Right, if I had to compare it to my equation here, you can tell for me to find my radius, r squared needs to equal to 9. Okay, so to find my radius, I'm going to write down r squared equals to 9. Now, if I want r equal to something, what do I need to do? You guys are already experts. Square root it, not just on one side, square on the other. Put it into the calculator. Square root of 9 should be 3. So my radius is 3. Okay. Now, how I'm going to actually sketch the graph will look like the following. When it says sketch, so if you see the word sketch, that means just do it loosely, as long as I can see what type of graph it is and making sure that there are all of the points that is needed. Yeah. If it says graph, you need to do it precisely like how we've done it in our lesson on x and y coordinates of parabolas. That is graphing. Okay, precise. In this case, sketch the graph. It means just do it a bit loosely, but making sure that I have the right shapes and the right points that are needed there. Okay, so in this case, this is what I'm going to do. If it's sketch, I'm just going to do it loosely. So this is my x and y coordinates. Doesn't have any numbers. Yeah, it's a circle, so I'm just going to draw a circle. Okay, doesn't need to be too good. Just freehand it. Then what I'm going to do, if my radius is 3, that means it's talking about this. From the point 0, 0 going outward, that is 3. the length of 3, or the radius of 3. So that means this point here needs to be positive 3. If I go backwards here, right, that point will be negative 3. If I go up, this will be positive 3. If I go down, it gives me negative 3. Okay, so on a circle, it needs to have these, I guess, numbers on it when you sketch. Okay, so that's example 1. Example 2 is find the equation of the circle with its center at the origin and negative 5, 6 on its circumference. So I'm going to rewrite the equation of a circle, which is x squared plus y squared equals 2r squared. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to find out my radius. Okay, so that I can find out my equation. I have been given a point, negative 5, 6. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to label it. Negative 5 is my x and 6 is my y. I'm just going to put it into the equation. So negative 5 squared plus 6 squared should give me r squared. Put that into the calculator. Negative 5 squared plus 6 squared should give me 61 equals to r squared. Now, if I look at the equation right now, right, it already gives me, I just need to have the r squared, which I've already found. R squared equals to 61. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to write down my equation. It'll be x squared plus y squared equals to 61, because that's what r squared is. So I'll substitute r squared for 61. Now, if the question asks me to find the radius, right, this is what I'm going to do further. Okay, I'm going to square root this side, both sides. Then what I would have as my radius is root 61 units and whatnot. That would be my radius. But because it asked me for the equation, my equation is this. Super easy. Once I found r squared, I'll just put that into the equation and just leave it as this. Hopefully that makes sense, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.